Brad Williams, Frugal Finance, the currency annuity swap. The currency annuity swap is similar to a plain vanilla swap without the exchange of principal at the initiation or the termination of the swap. It is also known as a currency basis swap. For example, one party might make a sequence of payments based on British SOFR, while other makes a sequence of payments based on US SOFR. The currency annuity swap typically requires one party to pay an additional spread to the other or make an upfront disbursements at the time of the swap. Valuations of this structure can be created by allowing one or both parties to pay at a fixed rate. In pricing these swaps, the key is to specify a spread or upfront payment that makes the present value of the cash flows incurred by each party equal. As an example, we consider a swap of British SOFR versus US SOFR made in the context of the interest rate environment of figure table 2210, which we've already explored for the diff swap. The spot earning rate at time zero equals £1 equals $1.60, or a pound equals pound to dollars, and the corresponding forward exchange rates are shown in the final column of 2210. The notional principal, the British 50 million, pound 50 million equivalent to 80 million. The specific terms of the swap require one party to pay a floating rate equal to 1 year British SOFR on a notional principal of pound 50 million for 5 years plus or minus a spread. Unlike the diff swap, these payments will be made in British pounds. The other party will pay US SOFR a notional principal of 80 million. We've got the interest rate, US dollar, interest rate for diff swap for annual coupons. So we're using that same example from the diff. So we have US dollar, par yield, zeros, 1 year forward. Timeline in figure 2215 shows the cash flows on the swap from the point of view of the dollar payer. For the dollar payer, the present value of the outflows is as follows. So we got PV equals 80 million, and then SOFR 0, 80 million times 0.033, 26.15 million. Recall that F of X indicates the dollar value of forward contract for 1 pound initiated zero for payment at time T. Then also, from the perspective of the dollar payer, the US dollar value of the British pound inflows is as follows. Pound 50 million times SOFR plus SPRD. Here we have this equation. We have 50 million times 0.27, 50 million times 0.27614 plus 50 million times 699,014 equals 13 million plus 349 times spread. Now equating the values of the inflows and outflows from the point of view of the dollar payer, we have the following. PV inflows, PV outflows, 13,630 plus 349,502. I didn't bring all of the diff information over. You're gonna have to bounce it back over to the diff session 26. The payer of the British pound should pay British SOFR plus 3.698% versus US SOFR. Alternatively, the swap could be structured such that the 5 annual payments are British SOFR flat versus US SOFR flat. In that case, the pair of pounds would have to make a payment to the dollar payer that equals the present value of the spread payments. So this would be some outrageous number. I haven't pointed out the reason why this makes sense. I left that blank so you can answer it. Does this make any sense? Would you use it? Do you understand it? Who's making money? Who's losing money? What's the risk? I haven't brought that out, and I don't want to. I want you to think through this. This is very complex, clearly. How you would employ this would take some creativity or a rather weird working environment. I'm not sure where you would plug this in and where it would satisfy all the parties, but that's why it's available. That's why there are teams in the banks, and this is their job, okay? Maybe you'll be that person and you'll create something like this, and then your job will be to sell it. I presented it, but I haven't sold it. Comment. Let me know what you think about stuff like this. Brad Williams, Frugal Finance. Thanks for watching.